So, hello. I'm excited to see everyone. I'm always excited to see our community. Such amazing people who are willing to discover and learn together. And I absolutely love that. So, my name is Michele Yasuda, if you don't already know me, and I'm the program director for the Foundation for Conscious Living's Big Leap Home online programs. And these programs support individuals, organizations, and communities in generating agency, connection, and creativity on our shared planet. I love that intention. So this evening, myself and Nicole Taylor will be leading our community in a practice that we both, I know, have found tremendously supportive in all areas of our life. And so Nicole will speak a little bit more about the context we'll be in tonight. Before I continue, I want to invite all of you, if you're not already on our Big Leap Home network, this is a gathering space for our Hendrix world. And it's a platform that has no ads and it's no cost. And you will find practices that get posted on there, just like you might see on social media, and all kinds of cool stuff, especially this month. Katie and Gay have been celebrating their 40th anniversary with a bunch of wonderful relationship tips. So you'll see that on the network. So if you want to join that, I'll put a link in the chat when I'm finished here. So normally this is the time where I turn the call over to our speaker. And so tonight I'll be joining as co-facilitator, and I'm excited to be doing that tonight. This is a subject that means a lot to me, and I love applying the Hendrix tools that I've learned to looking at this planet, this world that we all live in, and seeing how I can actually have presence to be able to face, accept, choose, and take action in the ways that I want to. So I'm going to turn the call over to you, Nicole, and I'll be back in a bit.
Awesome. Hi, everyone. My name is Nicole Taylor. I am a Big Leap coach and been in the community for, I think, 8 years now. Just happy to be with you here today. This topic is so meaningful to me as well. I was watching this documentary, Fantastic Fungi, and I was bowled over. Yeah, Michael. I think Celeste is the one who your wife Celeste is the one who suggested it. So I took her recommendation and I watched this documentary, and I just felt my heart explode with love that we live on such a beautiful planet that nourishes us and nourishes itself and nourishes all of the different layers of life. And it really struck me after watching that like, oh, there's a difference between feeling love and that bringing forward action and feeling a sense of duty and that bringing forward action. And there's nothing wrong with duty, but I noticed that when the action came from love, it just felt different to me. So that's a little bit of what we wanted to explore tonight, that yes to everything that's happening as it relates to sustainability, and how do we infuse those actions that we're taking with a reminder that we love this place where we live and that we're in relationship with it. So our intention today is really to just have this hour together. And that was the other thing. It's like, okay, I drank a can of something that was aluminum and I put it in the recycling bin. And that's what I thought about as it relates to my relationship with the planet today, was like, I did that action. But I feel like for me, it's rare to just spend time on that relationship, tending to it, like you would any other relationship that you have with a being. And so that's part of what we're up to today, is like, can we take some time and tend to our relationship with the planet just like we would with a friend or another loved one? And it feels like something that, you know, if energy follows thought, then when we're putting our energy into the relationship and when we're putting our energy into the planet, what opens up there in terms of the possibilities for connection and the possibilities for healing? That's what we're up to today. And the reason we wanted to use F.A.C.T for this exploration is that F.A.C.T is a wonderful tool for bringing consciousness to anything, actually, but especially those situations where it's easy to get or to feel stuck or overwhelmed. The process actually helps you to unstick that and to take that measurable action and to celebrate that. And so sometimes our relationship with the planet and what's happening to it can feel so huge. And for me, I've noticed sometimes I can go into overwhelm, like there's never enough. And what about this group? And what about that, country? And what about that emissions thing? You can get all in everybody else's business about it. And there's this opportunity to be like, no, yes to this being, multidimensional, and what is mine to do that I can actually do. So that's why we're going to use F.A.C.T for this exploration. So to begin, we wanted to just check in. How do you tend to relationships that are meaningful to you? You can either unmute or share in the chat, but just kind of getting back into that space of, this is a relationship. Like when you know you love someone, how do you tend to them? Darlene.
I've become an appreciation master.
Ooh. So appreciating that person, that relationship, that's one of your go-to moves, sounds like.
And the one I love honing is telling the person how I am affected by their presence. The quality that's generated in me being with them. But I just love being in the appreciation field, whether I'm giving or receiving. I realize I'm in that appreciation field, and it feels like I'm tending to myself and them at the same time.
Yes, thank you, Darlene. That's delicious. Michael says appreciation was what I was thinking when Darlene said it. Yeah, so 2 times we have appreciation. Thank you, Michael. How about other folks? How do you tend to your cherished relationships?
One thing while we're waiting for a hand to go up, and you can use your electronic hand if you want to, or wave at us. I was thinking about how one of the things that I do is create space for. So I noticed that if I value a relationship, I'm going to create space for that relationship. So time, and you can look at that as time. I'll call it space.
Thank you, Michele. Yeah, being able to give your loving attention to it. Yeah. Okay. Yep. And Michael, I check in regularly to connect. Wonderful. Yeah. So we have appreciation, we have space and time, we have connection. Yeah. I notice when a relationship is meaningful for me, one way that I tend to it is just, I feel like I carry that person in my heart. Like this is my heart, and they're like in there. So that's one way for me. Kath, go ahead.
I love that you said that. Like the first person that I thought of when you said that is Audrey. She's a master holding people in her heart. And so I experienced that to another level with her. So I appreciate that. And also what came up about what I do is I like to make people food. And apparently I put magic in food, so I like to do that. And talk about appreciation, because it just happened and it was so sweet. It was my friend's 40th birthday and I didn't follow my agreement of making a card, and instead I decided on the spot that I would do a talking card. So we sat in a circle and everybody said what they were gonna say in the card. So it was like an appreciation circle, and that went it was really, really sweet. A highlight of my year. So thanks to appreciation.
I love that. It sounds like a mixture of a bunch of things. You had appreciation, you had connection, having them in your heart. Yeah. Yum. Thank you.
I was thinking about how you were honoring the relationship, honoring the person by giving all of those things that Nicole just mentioned. So that's something that's really beautiful to stop and notice, like, oh yeah.
Yeah. Sandra, I see your note. I get curious about what the other person is experiencing and feeling and want to know all about it. I love listening to them and seeing them open up. Such an honor. Ooh, yes. Yes. So that whole body listening and bringing that curiosity to want to know their experience. That's lovely. Yeah. And I love how everything that everyone said, we can do with the planet. Like there's nothing that someone said that's like, oh, how would you do that? You know? So just really appreciating the way that that flows together. And then we have another question of, it's not always easy, right? Relationships, I would love them to always be easy. And sometimes there are bumps. And so when those moments happen where you feel a little bit stuck or overwhelmed, what are some things that you do? I see Darlene is love scooping. Yes. So she is using one of the fear melters that Katie Hendricks created. And love scooping is a way of scooping this pool of love and making contact with ourselves. And what that does is it brings us back to ourselves, and it easily brings us out of faint fear. So when we do love scoops, if we faint, and faint is just the type of fear where you just kind of go like, huh? Kind of don't know what's happening, what to say, what to do. You may not even feel like you're in yourself. This love scooping is a way that you can come back to yourself. Wonderful.
And I love how faint came up through the love scoop, right? Came in the back door of that, because I think that it's very common for us to go into a fear faint when we think about the planet. And I was thinking about one of the things that can happen for me in relationship is if there's something uncomfortable going on, like maybe I have a withhold, maybe I haven't said something that I know I need to say. I notice that I might want to distract myself. I might want to be doing other things. I might not want to be actually putting my attention on that relationship. And so I notice how I can do that both with people and with the planet.
Yeah, thank you, Michele. Well, that kind of leads us into the step of wanting to use the yes breath as a way to come back to presence. So I'm going to pass it over to Michele so she can lead us in a breathing exercise that is really useful for those moments when we feel that sense of stuckness or overwhelm.
Yeah, and the other thing about this, what I'm going to be sharing with you, and some of you have learned this, and some of you it might be the first time, it's called a yes breath, but we're going to do a standing version. And the reason why we're focusing on the standing yes breath tonight is because it's one of the steps in F.A.C.T. And so we wanted you to have a fresh experience of practicing it before we go into that practice. So if you're willing and able to stand up, this would be a great time to go ahead and let yourself stand. And before we even think about the breathing part of this, let yourself just imagine that you are like a porch swing, but one that's moving very, very slowly and gently. And you could put your hands on your hips, or you could, what I really like doing is opening my hands up, my arms up. And so you're gently rocking back and forth, very gently rocking back and forth. And what you might notice if you're watching me right now is my head wants to slightly rise and slightly go down. And that's one of the reasons this is called the yes breath. I look like I'm nodding yes. And the other thing that you're going to notice is when you're rocking back and forth, you're going to arch your back and round your back. And so let yourself practice that. And then if we drop the breath in, you can see where you may feel where it's natural to drop the breath in. I'm going to arch my back. I'm going to let my belly go loose, and I'm going to take a nice deep breath in. And then when I round my back a little bit and turning my hands back the other direction, I'm letting that breath all the way out. And so letting yourself practice this slight arching and rounding as you're rocking your pelvis back and forth very, very gently. And if you could get your breath into about 5 seconds in and 5 seconds out, that's a way to calm your nervous system. We know that taking 3 connected breaths for about that many seconds will actually begin to give us enough presence to come back home to ourselves when we're feeling out of sorts. And it's okay if you can only easily make it to 3 seconds or 4 seconds in and out. Keep it in the easy zone. I noticed over a lot of time of practicing this that I could slow my breath down over time. All right, so let yourself rest from that a little bit. Move your body. So that's our standing yes breath. I'm wondering how that felt for everyone. If anybody wants to share. I can see some reactions. Yeah.
It
right.
felt very delicious.
Yum, yum, yum. Nice. That's great. And is there anything you want to add to that, Nicole? Anything about that yes breath for you that is supportive?
No, I just love it for accessing the full body wisdom. I noticed, even though I felt like myself in here, there's still a little bit of a habit of being more up here. And so just a couple of yes breaths brought me fully down into the body. And what I love about that is our body has wisdom about everything. And so as we're turning our attention toward our relationship to the planet, there's the body's wisdom is available to us by doing that.
Mm.
Wonderful. I love how you started standing with the image of a swing and my dog started barking at a car. So that was a challenge to concentrate. Awesome. I love that too. It's a test. It's like a, not a test, but like a check from the universe, you know, like how can we stay present even when something over here is like, so that's wonderful. Thank you for sharing that. All right. Well, I think we're going to now start moving into the actual practice of F.A.C.T. So we'll guide you through this practice, and we do want to invite you, if you want to have something to where you can jot down something that comes into your head, feel free to have that. But you do not need to write anything down. It's just, we know sometimes people like to write themselves a little note. And if that would bring you only into your brain and not accessing your full body wisdom, then just leave that off to the side as we prepare to come into F.A.C.T. And so I'm going to invite you to just take a moment, and as it relates to your relationship with the planet, just see if there are any particular elements of that relationship that you'd like to use this F.A.C.T. process to explore. Good. Wonderful. And once you have that issue or potential that you're going to explore, go ahead and pick a place in the space around you where that issue or that potential seems located. And then once you have picked that place where the issue seems located, go ahead and turn your body fully toward the issue so you're facing it. And now for the next few moments, use your whole body to explore the way that you can and the way that you have turned toward and away from the issue. So I noticed that for me, a way that I turn away from the issue is going down into my phone. Let me just scroll onto some other website to see what's going on. So try that for you. What are some of your ways that you turn away from and back toward the issue or potential? And really let your body come into it. So we're not just thinking about it, but we're actually doing the thing. So maybe that's scrolling on the phone. Maybe that's getting angry and leaving. Maybe that's lecturing someone else about what they're supposed to do. Just notice all of the different ways. Good. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And then go ahead and turn and face the issue directly. And as you face that issue, let your body posture be open. And so the arms are by the sides, the belly is soft, the chest is open. And allow the sound of to come in on your out breath. And ask, what about this issue have I not yet fully faced directly? How might I include all of me in this? How am I keeping this going? And Michele will take you through the next step.
All right. So now let yourself be fully facing and relax your breath and let yourself get into that standing yes breath now. Slowly while you're facing. Let yourself be taking some full and deep belly breaths while you're facing directly. Now we're going to get a pleasant again. Let yourself Drop in another question. Let yourself feel your breath as you ask yourself, what's the hardest thing for me to accept about all of this? What's the hardest thing for me to accept about all of this? How can I experience this as an invitation for discovery? How can I breathe and receive the wisdom from my body right now? What's the hardest thing for me to accept about all of this? Once you land on something, go ahead and in the space in front of you, hold out one of your hands and say, yes, I want to accept this thing. Yes, I want to accept this. And then take your other hand and see what wants to be said there. I want to accept this. And then maybe, and I'm scared. Or, and I don't want to. So go ahead and whatever naturally comes up for you in that other hand, go ahead and in your own time, play with back and forth. Let your whole body participate in this. In one hand, I want to accept this. Yes, I want to accept this. And in the other hand, something else. What is that? And continue doing that until you feel a shift in your body. All right, Nicole's going to take us into the next step.
So continuing to stay in that place of wonder with the sound of when you breathe out. Allow small, friendly movements to come into your hands and your whole body as you get curious about, what do I really want? What do I really want as it relates to my relationship with the planet? What is my most alive choice in this moment as it relates to my relationship with the planet? what do I want to be doing with my creative energy as it relates to this issue? So pick one of those wonder questions that really landed for you and emphasize different words, emphasize different tones of voice, just to try that on in different ways as you listen. What do I really want to be doing with my creative energy? How can I choose to participate fully in this moment? Notice when you start to feel an increase in the ease in your body and the energy in your body. And Michele will take us into the next piece.
All right, so now allow yourself to move around the space that you're in and get into your pleasant, let's really engage our curiosity, our wonder brain. And ask yourself, what's the simplest, most pleasurable action step you can take that will lead you to what you really want? What's the simplest, most pleasurable action step that you can take to move towards what you really want? So just keep moving around and asking yourself, what's the simplest, most pleasurable step that I can take to move towards what I really want? When you land on something, feel free to go jot down what that is and by when you're going to take that action step. And take your time. What's that simplest step that you can take? And by when will you take it? All right.
Thank you. So we'll now put you into breakout rooms so that you can share anything you'd like to share. You may wish to share your action step or your celebration, or you may just wish to talk about your experience. So we'll give you, each person can just share for 2 minutes and then switch. And so we'll give you a total of 5 minutes just so you can say hi to one another once you're in the rooms.
All right, I'm going to do this in 1 sec here. All right. So we'll see you back in about 4.5 minutes. You're all back. Would love to hear anything that you want to share from your experience in the breakout rooms and with your F.A.C.T. So if you're happy to share, please raise your hand, your electronic hand, or you can wave to us. Who's willing to share something?
I'll share. I chose to face how serious and dire it feels, the state of the planet, and I felt good facing it. I definitely felt like a scared child energy, overwhelm, sadness, like, what am I'm powerless feeling when I was facing it. And then, and it was interesting. I was surprised at I want to face it. And I felt like I was doing it wrong, because the other one was, and I don't want to put energy towards something that's out of my control, because Gay teaches me not to spend so much energy on what I can't control. So that was an interesting, and my critic was saying, that's too long. You're not doing it right. But the action step, I felt very good. And I felt a shift actually. And the action step was, it reminded me of, sort of inspired by Nicole putting the planet in her heart. I really did see like myself with the planet on the porch swing. And if my action step is to spend time being with it and loving it. And I have a guided imagery where I actually I send love in 4 different ways to the planet. So I reminded myself of that. So if I do that for 2 minutes a day, that feels like I'm facing and being with and adding to the harmony between me and the planet.
Yeah, double heart. I want to put a heart up there too. I like that, Nicole. Yeah, thanks, Darlene. That was very cool. Anybody else want to share something that came up for you? Anything surprising in the process? All right, Nicole.
Great. Well, thank you so much for going through that with us, and for bringing in this idea of tending to this relationship. Just feels like it creates so many different possibilities for how we can be with one another and this earth that we live on. So we're going to move into some looping with the planet. And if you're new to that, loop of awareness is when we notice something in us, placing our attention on ourselves, and then we place our attention on something outside of ourselves. And the loop is just this fully being with and then fully giving our attention to. And each of us may have a different pace at which we do that, that feels natural to us. So I invite you to do that at the pace that feels good to you. I'll be narrating it, but I may be either taking longer than your loop or taking a shorter time. So just make it your own, but we'll giving our loving attention over here, giving our loving attention to the planet. And the construct that we'll use for attention to the planet is really just the 5 elements that are here. So that seems to be a framework that we can use. The yogi in me can't resist coming at it from that 5 element standpoint. So go ahead, and whether you want to be standing or seated, just allow yourself to come back into that gentle yes breath. really feel for your belly being relaxed. And as you breathe in, you feel that front of the body lengthen. And as you breathe out, you feel a slight rounding of the spine. And just let that happen, either standing or seated, in a way that feels nourishing to you. And if emotion comes up, just let that be there. Nothing to pull close or push away. Let your posture be open. Let your breath be easy. Now bring your attention to the earth in you, something in the physicality of your body, your bones, your skin. Now bring your awareness to the earth outside of you, thinking of the earth, the rocks, the trees. And let your attention come back into yourself, noticing the water element inside of you, noticing your blood, appreciating your gastric juices, your cerebral spinal fluid. Now bring that loving attention out into the water element of the planet, appreciating the oceans, rivers, streams, creeks, rain. And let your loop come back in toward yourself, presencing the fire element in you, the fire in your belly, the synapses firing in your brain, the fire of your digestive enzymes, the heat in your body. Now letting yourself turn your loving attention to the fire of the planet, the sun giving us light. Bringing your attention back to you with loving awareness for the air element in you, noticing your breath. Now let your loving attention come to the air element of the planet, being present with the air of our atmosphere. And bringing attention back to you and presencing the space element in you, noticing the spaces in your body, cavities in your body. And then allowing your awareness to move out into the space that holds the earth, the galaxy that this planet is in. And now widening that sphere, allow your loop to go from you to the beings here. Looping, let that loop get so wide. And let that loop include not just human beings, but the beings in the earth, the beings in the water, the beings in the air. From the most minute one-cell organism to the most complex ecosystem. Now bring that presencing back to you. Take a moment to feel appreciation for creating time in your life to reflect on and take action toward your relationship with the planet. Good. Wonderful. Thank you for playing in that way. Energy is so powerful, and it's like, it's not a new idea, but just to make time to just love on the planet. That's what Michele and I were taking a walk. What are we actually up to? We're loving on the planet. Just like you love on, I have a dog. I love her so much, and I just love on her. I'm touching her all the time. I'm sniffing her, even though she smells doggy sometimes. I just cannot get enough of this being. And like sometimes in really great moments of awe, I feel like I open up to that with the planet, the beautiful night sky or an amazing sunset. But that loving on the planet is available all the time. And we only have to choose. And yes, to those moments that it's like, oh, this is an amazing place. But also yes, to being intentional about creating that relationship. And just want to bring in some of the things that you said that you do in relationship that we can all do with the planet is turning toward it with appreciation, holding it in our heart, giving it time and space and attention, connecting with it, doing a mixture of all of these things, honoring it, touching it, loving on it.
Yum. So beautiful. And I noticed that I was thinking back to something you said earlier, Nicole, energy follows thought. And I was thinking about that while we were doing our looping practice. And I realized that when I let myself love on the planet, that action infuses me with a feeling of connectedness, both with myself and with the planet. And that then informs how I act throughout the day. And I notice that I will give more attention to my houseplants, the plants outside, noticing whether I'm doing the things that I know that feel good for me to show my care for the planet. So I notice that my own actions follow from that original intention and commitment to giving energy and giving my loving attention, thinking of loving as being in the same space as. So for me to allow myself to give that kind of attention to my relationship with the planet, as opposed to the one that before we did this is more of a kind of, it's kind of like that. I was noticing in my practice, it was like peeking, peekaboo. So letting myself get playful with that really supported me in being able to land in, and this is what I really want in my relationship. So I so appreciate you, Nicole, and appreciate your loving presence for both for our community and really through our whole world, because I do notice that you are someone who brings deep presence wherever you go. So appreciating that, appreciating you and everyone who showed up tonight. So thankful for all of you for creating this space of love.
Thank you, Michele. I feel such a deep appreciation for co-creating with you. It felt so easy, and I love our shared intention of just this really being about love. And I feel that from you to me and to everybody here and to the planet. So thank you. And thank each of you. Could have been doing anything on this evening and you chose to do this. So we appreciate your presence and your curiosity.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. So feel free to unmute to say goodbye, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you.
And lots of love to everyone.
Bye.
Mwah.
Take care.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you.
Bye. Thank
Bye.
you.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
I love the pacing.